Hey guys, we've got Vienta in here this morning. Hi, sweetheart. And we're not doing any riding today. I thought we'd mix it up a little bit and do a little rope work with her. So some background on this horse, if you guys have been keeping up, we got her started under saddle. She's doing pretty nice right now. So pretty happy with that, but you know, we need to be roping on all our horses, and we need to get her progressively better and better with the rope. So right out of the gate when she came in, roped her to halter breaker, roped her feet, and did pretty good with that. Hasn't had it done in a few months, but should have a fairly good fundamental understanding of that. So we're not going to do that today. You know, we'll periodically do that throughout her life, but what she needs today is for me to just be able to swing a rope and her be on autopilot. So what I mean by that is when I'm roping on a horse, I want my rope to bring zero energy to them. So when I start swinging, it means nothing. Their demeanor changes, their movement does nothing. They have no surge of energy, whatever. Because, you know, I'm sure a lot of people that watch our channel rope. And if you do, you know that there is nothing less fun than when you're roping on a horse and their mind is everywhere else except on what you're doing. So I don't want to have a horse jumping out from under me all the time when I'm roping and, you know, manhandling them around and them thinking about being over there when we're over here. And, you know, it's just a pain in the butt. It's not conducive to doing good work. And, you know, it's no fun to be on. So the way that I like to start that, obviously, like I said, we've roped her feet. We roped her to halter breaker. The way I'm going to go about this is I'm just going to start swinging the rope and keep her on this line here. So I'm going to keep the halter on her and hold it almost like I was holding reins underneath my rope. If you could see it here, I'll just probably keep that tail long and hold it like that, and I'll go ahead and put my rope right there. And then I'm just going to work on swinging and seeing how little reaction I can get. Like I said, I want this rope to mean nothing to her. It needs to be able to touch her all over body, needs to be able to make all this noise and her have no reaction to it. So I'm not focused on how pretty my loops are right now. Something important to mention, right? You notice there I swung and she just stood there, and then the rope hit the ground and she stepped away. I'm not going to correct a lot of this. I'm not making a big deal out of it. I want her to know that this rope has nothing to do with her right now. That I can swing as much as I want and it mean nothing to her. Hello, sweetheart. Yeah. So her demeanor's already changed a little bit, right? See a little licking and chewing right there, but she's got more energy than she did. You may not be able to tell that, but good. So I'm gonna go ahead and just touch her here, pat her, and I'll swing backhand. Nice, nice. Good job, sweetheart. So she's feeling the coils on the right side of her body now, and I'm swinging on this left side. Oh yeah, you're doing good, sweetheart. Good. We'll just go back to this little hula hand swing there. If you spend a lot of time getting this good, you know, depending on the horse, some horses are just naturally better with stuff going on. And that's kind of the challenge of making a good bridle horse. A super cowy horse is bred to be reactive, which is awesome for working a cow. But when you're roping, we have moments where we need them to have zero reaction, right? Where they need to just be on neutral autopilot. We swing, there's chaos going around, and she's not worried about it. So at times, super cowy horses can be tricky to rope on, or maybe just take a little bit more effort and time to build relaxation And also it's almost an opposing concept, right? A cow horse versus a rope horse. And a rope horse is a cow horse, just to be clear, but I mean more of a cutting bred horse, because a cutting horse is reacting to the cow. A rope horse essentially is dominating the cow. And there's a difference in those two. Cutting horses have some degree of fear of cattle. A rope horse really should have zero fear, right? They're in charge of the situation. So to get a horse good at both is very difficult. But that's what a bridle horse is. And then pack your kids around and, you know, be gentler than a dog, and, do, nice dry work, and have good ground manners, and so on. So that's what we always chase. But this is one of the steps to building this. So I'm going to go ahead and just flick this on her here. Good girl, sweetheart. Yeah, it don't mean anything. It don't mean nothing. Hi, girl. Yeah. Hi, girl. Go ahead and swing again a little more. And small doses of this is really good, right? I'm not trying to get a horse worked up and, like create a really intense situation and force him to get through it. That's not something that is really what we're trying to do here. What I'm trying to do is just give really tiny experiences that have reactions that I'm looking for. And over time, enough of those tiny experiences, look how much better that was. Over time, these tiny experiences build up, and whoops, sorry, sweetheart. Hopefully that didn't move the camera much. Hopefully over time, these tiny experiences put kind of seeds in a horse's mind, and the seed starts to grow, and eventually the horse knows nothing other than processing information, because they react almost never. So if you stop a horse from reacting and keep them in the habit of always staying relaxed and processing information, then over time, reacting isn't really going to be an option for them, if that makes sense. So we're just over her butt. That was really nice. Very nice. Very nice. Yeah, so if there's any big takeaway from what I'm doing here today, it's that don't get a horse reacting, okay? The more a horse reacts, the more they're going to react. That whole Clinton Anderson freaking online trainer BS, sorry to call anybody out, they're fine horsemen, but we just do things a little bit different. And that whole pressure and release, make them work, blah blah blah, make them sweat, is quite frankly just BS. I consider myself a fairly honest dude, and if I tell you guys that they're great horsemen and blah 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 and we all do things different, that's true. They're good horsemen, they do things their own way, but there's a better way. And I like to think that's what I'm showing you, not to sound egotistical, but these are the clients. These animals come first. If they're not happy, proof's in the pudding. If they're sweaty and hyped up and whatever, at the end of what you're doing, you may want to reconsider what you're doing, because these are not just horses that were broke, raised inside in a stall, born inside, handled since they were born. These are horses that hadn't seen a human until they were 3 years old. So if these horses can be gentle and not be worked up and sweating all the time and whatever, any horse can do that. So yeah, case in point, right, back to the takeaway is don't get them reacting, right? The more you keep them in this processing side, the more they're going to stay in it. And take your time, be firm when you need to be firm, but build up these small experiences, and eventually that's the only reaction the horse knows. So don't get them in the habit of acting how you don't want them to act, right? Good girl, sweetheart. Good girl. Yeah. We'll just flick this around her feet a little bit. Good girl. Nice, sweetheart. So this horse, at some point, got tangled up in a fence when she was young. If you could see that right hind, she's got some scar tissue on that cannon bone. Hi, girl. But, you know, when they have an experience like that young, and a lot of young horses do, right? Because baby horses bred on ranches, they make mistakes. And that's just part of being young. But, you know, I want to make sure that that's not a lasting memory. And they're okay with yielding the pressure in their feet. They know how to lead by a foot. So, you know, if we ever get stuck in a fence or something on some down wire, we've got a pretty good chance of being all right. Making sure that, you know, we give that horse as good a chance as possible to save their life. So, disclaimer, hobble your horses, teach them to lead by a foot. It will help. But she's doing really nice with this. Notice how this horse is acting like she doesn't really want to be anywhere, which is awesome. I'm going to throw just a tiny little Del Vienta onto her butt. Nice, sweetheart. So a little movement there, and that's all right. But not panicking, not losing her mind, nothing. Just a really good start for her. So I'll talk a little bit about why the lead rope. And, you know, I'm sure a lot of you guys, a lot of people rope horses, but I'm going to go ahead and move on to this right side. But a lot of people rope horses, and you know, like I'll do it without the lead when we're roping feet and all that stuff, a lot of times. But the lead rope can be really helpful, because what it does is it's going to help that horse understand that you're not asking much. You're just saying, hey, you could just stand there. You want them to find that out on their own to some degree. Like, so when I'm roping horses, I don't have a lead, and I'll stop them, and eventually they'll just stand there. But for, you know, horses that can be a little reactive, why get them into that reactive state where they're just running around the round pen a ton? You know, when we're trying to make a good rope horse, I want them to know that that rope means nothing to them in the beginning. And if we do that, right, with the halter, it just kind of gives them a little bit of a hint as to what we're asking, rather than them thinking, oh, you're trying to, you know, make me move, or this is some form of pressure, right? I want it to be zero pressure to any horse that I'm roping on. Good girl, sweetheart. Good girl, Vienta. So I hope that is starting to make sense, guys. What I'm gonna do here is flick this over here. Good girl. This horse is pretty good at transferring information from right brain to left brain, if you guys can tell that. She's acting like we've done this before on this right side, when we've only done it on the left side, right? So that's pretty neat. Don't judge this swing here. I promise I can kind of rope. But this is really good, right? For a horse that came from where she came from, a little bit more reactive. She's doing awesome. Aren't you, sweetheart? All I'm doing here is just catching this butt a little bit. I want her to get comfortable with feeling all this. And you know, obviously we'll do more and more, but this is just starting here, getting a little bit of a foundation. And we probably won't do this for a while after today, but I'm in a position where I don't need to go to work on my horses right away, so I'm not really in a rush. I can take as long as I want, and I like that, because I'm not somebody that likes rushing anything or getting in a hurry doing anything. Nice, sweetheart. Good job, girl. So what I'm gonna do now is work back over to this left side, and we're gonna go ahead and see if we can swing, make a little bit smaller loop, from this left side onto this right side. I'll show you a little bit what this looks like. Get a little tiny loop. We're here. Good girl. Good girl. Good girl. We'll be right here. We'll swing. Nice. And then I'm going to try and come above this head here. Whoops. Sorry, sweetheart. That was my fault. Good. Good. Tapped her butt by accident when I was swinging that. My fault there. Good girl. Good girl. So don't do this with a big old loop that's gonna whack them in the ears and hit them in the butt and whatever, right? Try and do this to where it's gonna be really conducive for them. Give them a good experience. Good girl. So I was just amping up that swing there, so it made a little bit of noise for a moment. Good girl. Nice, sweetheart. So she's doing really good with this experience. You can see she's got her ears back a little bit, still paying attention, but doing pretty nice. Hey, girl. And I'm okay that I'm figure eighting. I really don't care here. I just want her to see all that above her, out of right eye into left eye, vice versa. Good girl. Ooh, sorry, sweetheart. Tapped her butt a little bit there. Eventually they need to be okay with that, right? But right now I'm trying to make sure they've got everything on their side. All right, girl. Yeah. Good girl, sweetheart. One thing I do want to tell you guys is, you know, stuff's gonna happen, right? Horses are gonna have bad days, but I will tell you, if you take the approach of, you know, really trying to take your time and give them as positive experiences as you possibly can, those days seem to happen a heck of a lot less, and eventually kind of almost not at all, as crazy as that may sound, because your horse kind of knows what to expect with you. They understand that things aren't ever going to hurt them, you know. They're never going to be put in positions that are really going to overwhelm them, right? And don't get me wrong, right? Horses need to understand that, you know, we're going to push you. I'm going to ask you to do more than maybe you think you're capable of. But good job. Good job. Hello, girl. But being a good horseman is just knowing where that line is, right? Don't push them so far that you just keep pushing in the reactionary mode and flight mode, and you're just building up that side of their brain. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to swing a moment, and then I'm going to throw across her back into her right eye. So we'll be here. Very nice. You guys could see that. Hello, girl. Not too bad, huh? I'm going to drag this rope across her withers here. Good girl. Got to get comfortable with that. And if you guys watch a lot of our content, I'm sure you're used to seeing and hearing me talk about some of these same principles, but I'm gonna go ahead and walk her here. Good job, sir. I had someone comment on one of the videos that they loved how respectful and compassionate I was for these young horses, and I really appreciated that comment. So whoever did that, thank you. But I want to make something clear also. A lot of guys I know that cowboy are incredible horsemen, and some of the stuff people may see them do they think is animal cruelty, and it's not. A lot of the stuff you know, you do in a working situation, you have to have a lot of context to get it. So I'll give you an example. So when you're starting horses that are, you know, raised outside, reactive, ranch bred horses, a lot of those horses aren't handled until they get older, and sometimes, you know, they get to 4 or 5 years old and they just think, you know, I'm big, I'm strong, I'm the boss, and there's not much you can do at that point, aside from doing as much groundwork as you can, getting them as good as you can, and then at some point you may just have to get on and you know, kind of win their respect a little bit. And some people may watch that and say, oh my gosh, that horse is bucking, blowing up, you know, you didn't do enough groundwork, you didn't do whatever. And some of that, right, may be true sometimes, right? Maybe you could have done a little more, but a lot of the times on those ranch bred horses and ranch raised, it's just a different animal. Most people haven't handled horses like that. It's different than a Mustang. They're bred to be reactive, bred to be cowy, and then they're raised outside like Mustangs and have to fight for their, you know, their lives and survive on their own and blah blah blah, depending on where they're you know, raised, where they grow up. Yeah, a lot of them are you know, some pretty tough suckers, and a lot of people haven't worked with horses like that. So sometimes when they blow up, you can do as much groundwork as you want, but some of them just have that in them, and you know, fighting for their lives, defending themselves for 5 years, you know, that makes a tough-hearted horse, and sometimes you just gotta win them over and earn that respect. So when you see them bucking, sometimes that is a lot what these guys are doing. Right, they're kind of bucking them out and earning that respect. So, you know, things getting high paced or stressful, sometimes it does need to happen, but I would say the majority of the time, right, because this is a ranch race horse, the majority of the time you can get them pretty close to like this, if you take your time, if you do the work, and if you're a half decent horseman. But yeah, I just kind of wanted to put that out there because I'm not this incredible soft, you know, whatever horseman. I mean, I am, but it's not like I'm the only person doing things right. There's a lot of great horsemen out there. So yeah, so to continue here, we're just throwing off that left side into the right eye, and then what I'll probably do here is swing a little bit more, start getting a little bit of sound with this rope here, and let her handle that all right here. Nice, sweetheart. A little bit of sound made her want to move just a touch. I'll just stay over here. Good girl, Vienta. Good girl. Throwing to that right eye again. That's pretty nice. Good girl. I'll work my way back over to this right side, and we'll do that same deal. Uh-oh, do I have cows in the barn? No. We'll swing back in here. Did pretty all right with that. Good girl. You got some hay in your hair, sweetheart. There you go. Do the same thing. Pull this rope onto this offside from that left eye. What are you doing? What are you doing? So I hope this is making sense, guys. Basically, I'm just trying to create the reactions I want rather than just going about my work and letting her react however she feels fit, and then showing her why that's not a good choice, right? That's not necessarily what I want to do, because that's creating a lot more reaction than I want. A little bit of nerves there. And nerves, right, when you see a horse, you know, start to have a little bit softer stool, or even just really any manure, you know, it's even a little loose while you're working with them, that's just a little bit of nerves. Not to be confused with the horse urinating. That's one of the highest signals of relaxation. Good girl. So sorry this isn't like beautiful roping, guys. When I'm doing this with horses, I'm not trying to actually do these good loops, because mechanically, that type of swinging, right, you need a bigger loop for one, and it may not release where you're trying to. So I'm releasing behind my head because I don't want her to think that that rope's going to come at her face. One of the, you know, not worst things, but something you don't want to do is when you're roping them, keep hitting them in the head, right? It's going to make them really shy of when you're swinging that rope. So I do a lot of this, of just swinging, throwing over the back, because got to make sure that horse is balanced, okay with that rope being on one side and then the other. And hello, girl. Yes. Yeah. Oh, something to mention, if you could see the shadow. Yes, I've got my GoPro head mount on again. I look ridiculous if you if there was another camera filming me, but hopefully you guys appreciate it, that you can hopefully have a better angle than the chest camera. I do the Colt starting with the chest cam just because if things get a little fast, I know it's not coming off. Yeah, and I don't like wearing this head cam with a cowboy hat. It's not comfortable at all, and it's heavy as crap. So when I'm doing round pen stuff, I just put it on without a hat and look ridiculous. But no one's here, so who cares? Swing here. Nice. So her head went up a little bit this time than the last time. That wind's starting to blow, and she's starting to like kind of wonder if everything's okay, and it is, sweetheart. She's just a little baby still. Little baby. I'm kind of throwing like a combo of a backhand to Houlihan, or Houlihan and backhand, kind of weird deal, but whatever I'm feeling is keeping it out of her eye, and gives me the ability to swing over her withers, kind of, which is really where I want to be. Good job, girl. Yeah, so I'm sure a lot of you that are watching this know this, but less is more with horses, right? I'm not like, you know, drilling this into her by any means. I'm just giving her some really good experiences right now, and and eventually one day you'll get her out and she'll be pretty darn good with it. I mean, she's doing great right now, but if you give them a lot of time between this, stop trying to rush things and get them perfect quickly. Just do, you know, 15-20 minutes one day and give them a month to think about it. Good job, girl. See, so she gives still a little bit of reaction there, but like nothing bad by any means. The reason you want no reaction is because, right, everything's kind of controlled right now. Everything's relaxed and slow. When we go to really rope in, and there's calves running all over the place, bawling, and, you know, calves jumping and whatever, I want her to stay in that relaxed mindset, right? I want her to have no energy when I start swinging. That rope can't create energy because all the cows are going to bring a lot of energy to that animal. So if the rope and the cows are bringing energy, it's just going to end up being too much, right? And that's how a horse gets overwhelmed and blows up and freaks out, whatever. So if my baseline with a horse is when I swing, they're totally relaxed, means nothing. The only thing that's going to get that horse amped up a little bit is when we first put them on cows, and eventually that'll keep them fairly, you know, they'll get fairly relaxed with that. But I just want to make sure that my rope is not adding to the situation, right, as much as possible. My girl. I'm sure everybody watching this, you know Vienta. She's a coming 3-year-old, might have just turned 3, but we start them right about at 3, and yeah, she's starting to become a really nice horse. She was a little bit more reactive, and I thought she was going to be one of the trickier ones this year. And you know, she's had her moments, but man, she really just kind of turned the corner and has started to become a really nice horse. So knock on wood, hopefully she keeps up, but even if she falls apart some days, I'm not worried about it. She's done awesome. So go ahead and swing this here again. So I like there was no reaction there. I want to be able to swing here and deliver. See, she has a reaction there. All right, go again. It's when I turn right there. So that was good, no reaction. When I turned to throw, she was lifting her head just a little bit. Good job. But I really like how she did there. Truthfully, I think that's probably good for today. Didn't move at all when I dropped that rope. My girl. So case in point, guys, that's how I like going about getting them good with that rope. And right, take your time, go slow, give them a good foundation, and you know, things are going to be a lot easier on you. And like I said, don't just start swinging a rope and make them react and then make them get over it, right? If you could keep them in that relaxed mindset always, you know, things are going to be quite a bit easier for you, and they're going to develop a lasting ability to handle that rope good, and you're building you know, a skill set in them that is going to help them their whole life. Excuse me. But yeah, that's how I go about starting to get them good with that rope. As always, if you guys like seeing content like this, please click subscribe. It means a lot to us. Click like, and thanks for watching. We really appreciate you guys, and we'll see you next time.